that I feel is God. And all that I have, all that I do, all that I am, it is God. All that I want, all that I need, all that I show is love. All that I think, all that I speak, all that I know, it is love. All that I see, all that I hear, all that I feel is God. All that I have, all that I do, all that I am, is God. All that I am is God. All that I am is God.
Good morning, hello, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Santa Rosa. I am Edward Fillion, the Senior Minister, and I'm so pleased to welcome you to our virtual service. If you are visiting with us for the very first time, I invite you to visit our website, www.cslsr, where there is all kinds of information about the groups and activities that are available to you at our Center for Spiritual Living during these shelter-in-place times. I'd love you to visit our social media sites, starting with Instagram. And even if you're not an Instagram user, you can go to www.instagram.com/ and then put in our Instagram user ID, which is CSL Santa Rosa. And there you will find easy access to our website and a menu of items for you to select from, as well as images and inspiration and quotes from our members in our community. At the Center for Spiritual Living, we are motivated by a global vision. That's what it's called, meaning that it incorporates everyone, a vision of a healthy, loving world. Today, our entire service is about that. So I invite you to sit back and relax. It is time for us to turn within. If we were sitting in the sanctuary together, we would sit in a moment of extended silence. But because we are in the virtual world, we are going to use music to help us tune in, dial in, and make ourselves available to today's message. I'm confident that somewhere in between the music and the meditation and the prayers and everything that takes place in this virtual service, I'm confident that something is especially right for you, for your soul, wherever you are on your spiritual journey. Welcome.
Sails on an ocean of love. closing our eyes if that's comfortable for us, then taking a nice breath. And together we know that there is only one power, one presence, and one principle that guides and guards us always. We are always fully connected to it in this life and beyond. We are never separated. So I know in this time together in this service of celebration that all is joy and harmony and peace and love. And that each one of us has come this day to learn something, to take something into our hearts and minds that will continue to grow us as our days go forward. So I bless the speaker this morning, and I bless all those who are speaking in this service, that their minds and hearts are exactly where they need to be and the perfect words come out in the right order. I bless those musicians who are bringing their music to us, and that the music and the words will speak to our minds and our hearts in the way that is just right for us. And I have blessing for those people who have spent hours and hours putting this service together for us. And also for those people who are supporting us as we speak right now behind the scenes. So it is in the deepest gratitude that I now release this, knowing it is done. I release it in love and joy and peace. And I simply say these words, and so it is. Good morning. I'm Joyce Kinzel. I'm a minister here. Join me in our affirmation this morning from the Beyond 2020 Vision Book of Affirmations. I accept a greater experience of my spiritual nature. I am a more willing vessel through which joy, beauty, and connection are activated. I see, know, and feel joy with every interaction, and so it is.
Every morning the light keeps getting brighter as I wake up to the truth. And every day I'm feeling so much lighter, and the world seems fresh and new. What I was taught and the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago, and now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us. Each day I start anew, and so I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to such sadness. Today is the day I walk away. Every day I walk away, and every morning brings a new beginning. By grace another day to be. And I awaken with the sun upon me shining, lighting the way for me to see. Things that I sought and the way that I thought stopped serving me long ago. And now I'm learning to trust in the God of all of us. Of yesterday I'm letting go. I'm walking away from the thinking that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the less than that held me for so long. Today is the day I walk away. I'm walking away from the path that led me to confusion. Today is the day I walk away. Every day I walk away. Today is the day I walk away.
In the recommended book for this month, it has a beautiful subtitle. I don't think I can say the title of the book. I'm not sure if it's permissible language on radio, but the subtitle is How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life by Jen, Jen Sincero. And in the chapter that is assigned for this week, she tells the story of how she was sitting in her home one morning with the doors wide open, and all of a sudden a wild bird flies into the room. And if you've ever had that happen to you, you know what happens next is panic for everyone, including the bird, flapping about and hitting furniture and turning onto full-on panic energy to get out of that confinement, and that energy of panic spreads. Yeah, I've had that a couple of times, and the panic of the bird soon becomes my panic, and that's what happened in Jan's story. The bird keeps on slamming itself into a closed window, which can be very dangerous, lethal for a bird if it gets enough speed. And it's trying to escape, and she wanted to catch him, which of course makes it worse. And finally she did manage to get the bird and escort him outside to freedom. And then she had to spend some time calming down, because now her own heart was pounding, matching the panicked energy of the escaping bird. And this is what she writes. I imagined his confusion and frustration. She's imagining what the bird says. I can see the sky. It's right there. If I fly hard and fast enough, I know I can reach it. And she says, it made me think of the way so many of us live our lives. We can see what we want and nearly kill ourselves trying to get it in a way that just isn't working. Meanwhile, if we just stopped, paused, got quiet for a moment or two, and looked at things perhaps a little differently, maybe we'd notice the door to what we want being held open for us by that nice lady in the bathrobe across the room. Thinking of that scene that she just described, I thought of our society right now and how in some ways society resembles a room in which a bird is frantically trapped, trying to escape, and sometimes dangerously so, trying to get to freedom. And in the process, panic and fear is being generated, and it is highly contagious. And even if I say, I'm not going to get into this. I'm not going to go onto social media. I'm not going to read the news. I'm not going to subject myself to all of this. Even if I say all that, maybe you notice, like I do, that the energy is still in the house, meaning it still touches me. Maybe it's touching you. You know, Kevin and I, we are working from our homes. And so we're in the same space 24/7. And he is a therapist, and I'm a minister, and I've got 2 jobs as a minister right now. And so we're in the thick of it, really. And we've often said to each other, you know, when we argue, when we fight, we still do it kindly. We're mindful of what we say to each other and how we say it. Yet, just the other day, I found myself being uncharacteristically angry about something that he did that has no consequences whatsoever and was absolutely no fault of his at all. And after reflection and a day later, we sat and talked about it and realized that the layers of trauma in society, that society is experiencing, is being felt by us. And it's just like a wild bird in our consciousness. COVID-19, shelter in place, this election cycle, the recent Breonna Taylor decisions, the rulings, the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It's one hit after another. You know, one little paper cut on the finger is not so bad. You can cope with it and feel the pain and get on with it. But this feels more like many, many 10,000 paper cuts. And that's traumatic. And even if I unplug myself from it, the connection that we share through the living Spirit from which we draw our lives, it remains in place. So we feel each other. We feel each other when our minds are frantic and when they are peaceful. And what are we frantic about? Well, in addition to the necessary racial healing in our nation and the discussions about social justice, and the radical rewiring of our nature's awareness of our 400-year history of slavery and its lingering consequences, some of which is very startling and some of which is still being denied as a reality. In addition to that, there is also some fatigue with just dealing with personal uncertainty. Well-being. You know, in Northern California here, with all of these consecutive years of fire, there is a kind of numbness in the community or an overwhelm as if there is persistent grieving, and there is grieving over so much. It's like we are in the cocoon phase, no longer a butterfly, no longer a caterpillar and not yet a butterfly. We're in that place where it is all unknown. And on top of that, there's this recent development of communities across the nation wrestling with conspiracy theories. You know, it reminds me of the panic that preceded the Y2K. Remember that, you know? And all of this together has the effect of a wild bird accidentally trapped and frantically trying to find a way out, and in the process infecting the whole mental, emotional, and physical household of the nation. Oh, it's easy to become reactive right now, to respond with uncharacteristic unkindness and anger. Oh, it's easy to be frustrated right now. And so I have to remind myself I don't really know. I don't realize the amount of pressure that is in me, that is in us, that is in other people. I don't know what other people are going through. I remember walking down the street in South Africa with my cousin and my mother when my cousin and I were children. And as we were walking downtown, we noticed a lady in front of us had worn out shoes, and every time she took a step, a piece of the leather flapped in the wind. And my cousin and I started pointing and giggling just as children might. And my mother saw what we were doing, and she stopped us in the walk, and she called us aside, and we stood where we were, and she said, we don't know what's going on with that person. That may be the only pair of shoes that she has. What a sobering moment for my young mind. My mother's words instilled a vision in me of being kind in my thoughts about others, and it made me sensitive to what I don't know, what other people are going through, and slower in making up stories about them, because from the outside, it may not always be possible for me to understand the strength and the courage that it takes for another person to make it through a single day today in this world. Now, the vision that we have in our movement of a world that works for everyone encourages me to carry on my mother's legacy of being kind as possible every day. Even though sometimes I can't see a clear pathway to do so. But that's the power of a vision, is to stretch our imagination. And this particular vision, a world that works for everyone, it stretches us with the question, how is it even possible? It may seem unattainable immediately, and yet at the same time, it tugs on our hearts as something we desire, and it's something that we feel we are being prompted from the inside to make changes that lead toward it. A world that works for everyone. A friend of mine was joking with me about that vision, and he said, I know exactly what a world that works for everyone looks like for me. In a world that works for everyone, it's a world in which everyone does exactly what I want them to do. And although he meant to be humorous, he had identified a very important consideration for creating a world that works for all. We can't be so tuned in to ourselves that we become intolerant of what other people are going through, or dismissive of the variety of ways other people wish the world to be. And I don't have to agree with those other ways. I can still take a stand for equal access to health care and education. And yes, our idea of a working world must be larger than our individual preferences and desires. It must embrace, with respect, the diversity of other people's worldviews. After all, I can no more expect people to behave the way I want them to than I can expect them to believe the way I believe. And still, but, I don't mistake that vision for agreement with inhumane treatment. I don't mistake the vision for an excuse for allowing racism to continue. Is there room to talk about diverging points of view? Sure. And certainly, instead of wishing the world would fall into my way of thinking, it would be better for me to become so tuned in to what is right and true that it shapes my choices and it influences the way I talk about it all in the world. And to me, this is especially important because spirituality does not mean I no longer acknowledge problems as problems. It does not mean I avoid talking about my values and spiritual vision. It does not mean I get to turn a blind eye to injustices and pain in society because they're not in my backyard. No. I must be conscious of what is going on. I must be conscious enough to do my spiritual practices. I must be conscious enough to turn up the patience. I must be conscious enough to be as tender as I can with others and with myself. I must be conscious enough to notice when I'm spiraling down into negativity or emotionality or disconnection and separation. And I must be conscious enough to know that that may be happening to others too, because we do feel each other's tensions and energy, and I want to be mindful of that. I want to give people the benefit of the doubt that when anger explodes or uncharacteristic unkindness expresses itself, when it erupts, when the fuse is short, I want to have faith and believe that even so, there is a way through this out into freedom for us. And I want to know and have faith that you are part of some global awakening, and I want to believe it. I want to have faith in goodness, and I want to believe it. I want to have faith in it, and I want to believe it. I heard a colleague of mine say something about himself. He said, "I'm an optimist. And an optimist is not someone who sees no problems. Rather, an optimist believes in solutions." So an optimist then is someone who knows, yes, there are difficult conversations that have to be had, and at the same time believes that solutions are available. An optimist understands that they may very well be disturbed in these times, that they may have to face their own avoidance. They may have to take time out from their own negative thinking, and at the same time believes that there is a way. An optimist can get exhausted and overwhelmed and even doubt their own heart's conviction from time to time. And at the same time, they still believe there is a way. An optimist knows they cannot be quiet about their heart's conviction. An optimist knows that they must have courageous conversations. And an optimist knows that underneath all that is going on, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. But not in the way of sweeping it under the rug. Not in the way of, do not deal with it and it'll sort itself out. Not in the way of, this has got nothing to do with me, I'll wait it out. But instead, in the way of ownership. This is my life. This is my world. This is my chance to speak from my conviction of oneness. And my word has power because it is rooted in the divine. And then to speak that vision and to talk the truth and to have faith in it and to believe in it, even though sometimes I may not know if I have what it takes to follow this evolution of thought to the next level, even though I still, in those moments of doubt, I still have the vision to guide me, and it still pulls me, and I can let myself notice how it disturbs me. So yes, I do want to put my attention on what I want for the world. I do. You know, we are going through something I call a great deathing, a dying. We're going through a great dying, a dying away. And at the heart of our teaching is the reminder that the immortal, eternal nature of that creative we call mind, that creative field we call mind, is that it is permanently present and everlasting. In other words, in our teaching, there is a reminder that there is life after death, and that the resurrected body is not the same as its former self. A falling away must happen. Racism must fall away. Gender inequalities must fall away. Corruption must fall away. Food insecurity must fall away. Planetary trauma and the denial of it must fall away. So much must fall away. That is why we sometimes feel grief and tiredness. And I want to say sometimes, can you just wake me up when it's all over? But I think of this. Future generations will assess us and our faith tradition on what we do and say and think now in these times. Yes, it's disturbing, risky, inconvenient. And I think you and I are being disturbed because that vision of a healthy, loving world lives in us. And also because what is happening in society is disturbing, alarming, and cannot stand. Yes, I want to say, wake me up when it's all over. Wake me up when this is done. But I can't. As tired as I may be, I can't. Because I know, like you do, I know that it is through being awake that we get to move this through to the open door, to freedom, to the other side. This is what we have been waiting for. What if this is the answer to our prayers? So I ask myself the question, how is all of this that is happening an evolutionary step forward? And how can I add my voice to it? Do I know what I know? And do I have faith in what I know? Do I believe what I know? Do I believe it so much that I can see it? Can I see it? Can I see all people, all beings, all life as expressions of God? These are the words of the global vision. Can I see a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with their highest spiritual principle? I see it. I see humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of their thought. I see a world in which each person discovers their own personal power and ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. I see a world in which we live and grow as one family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life. A world where there is kinship with all life, in which we are connected. I see a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors, providing sustainable structures to further the emerging global consciousness. I see a world in which each person has enough food and a home, and a sense of belonging. I see a world where there is peace and harmony and justice for all. I can see a world in which resources are valued and cared for and grown, and where there is generous and ongoing, continuous sharing and nurturing and respect for these resources. I can see a worldwide culture in which forgiveness is the norm. I see a world that has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through the resurgence of creativity and art and aesthetics. I see a world that works for all. It is time for our offering. I want to thank everyone who has submitted an online giving intention form. If you are a regular here at the Center for Spiritual Living, you know that once a year we ask our friends and members to disclose what they intend to give next year, in the year 2021. This is a budget process that allows us to calculate what we can expect to receive in revenue and then to build a budget around that. We have been receiving our pledges, or our giving intentions, I should say, online this year. And the address for that will be on the bottom of the screen at any moment. You can also just go to our website and look for it right there. It's on the front page of our website. And we have planned a beautiful gratitude gift for everyone who submits a giving intention form this year. And it is so delightful, and I'm not going to tell you what it is until it arrives. As part of our plans for next year, I want to unveil to you the non-profit partners that we have selected from your nominations that we will be partnering with in the year 2021. Please enjoy the slideshow while you consider what the Center for Spiritual Living means to you, and also while you make a donation. Did you know that you can make a donation on Facebook, or also on our website, or you can send it in the mail, old school, if you want to? Thank you for your support.
Days they come and days they go. What you plant is what will grow. And you sow, you sow, you sow. Something's gonna grow. So you want it all, give it all you want. So you know it all, give it all you want, give it all you want. Time feels fast and time feels slow. The clock ticks by, I watch it go. And it goes, it goes, it goes. Something's gotta grow. So you want it all, give it all you want. So you know it all, give it all you want, give it all you want. Lightning strikes and shakes us to the core, shifting life trust yourself, you'll know, you'll know, you know. Love surrounds and overflows. The more I give, the more it shows. And it flows, it flows, it flows. Love is gonna grow. So you want it all, give it all you are. So you know it all, give it all you are. So you want it all, give it all you are. So you know it all, give it all you are. Give it all you are.
And now it is time for our community announcements. This week we have 2 classes that are beginning. Open at the Top with Dr. Kim Kaiser, and that begins on Tuesday, which means registration closes today. There's also Visioning with Reverend Tara Steele. That begins on Friday, which means registrations close on Wednesday. We got to get all of our registrations in so we can be prepared for the Zoom classes. There's information on our website. There's information on our Facebook page. There's information on our Instagram page about these great classes as well as the others that are coming up. We've still got 2 more coming up in October, so you got to go to our website. We rolled these classes out sequentially in a staggered way so that you could have more access to them. Also registering at the moment are small groups, a series of circles for spiritual connection. Now, when we were meeting in person, we would have these circles in people's homes, and there was some concern that meeting online for these small circles would lack the connection and intimacy, but they have not. The people who take the time to sign up and go through these series of classes, they report a deep spiritual connection and a feeling of affinity and support. So these groups are open for registration, and they're 6 weeks at a time, and it's an opportunity to discuss the Sunday message and explore ways to embody our teachings more fully. I've mentioned our Instagram page. It's very easy to find, even if you're not an Instagram user. You just go to www.instagram.com, then / and you put in our ID, which is CSL Santa Rosa. And why I'd like you to go there is because there's a great post from Reverend Joyce DeFalla. It starts with the words, "What the world needs now." And you probably know how that lyric ends, is love, sweet love. And she writes there, "As election day gets closer, I find myself more easily seduced by thoughts of anger and fear. And as we metaphysicians know, these thoughts are not helping ourselves or anyone else. What is the antidote? To become a generator of love. I have taken on a new daily practice, and I invite you to join me anytime you can on Zoom for 20 minutes of tapping into, amplifying, and generating a field of divine love." So that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 10 a.m. to 10:20 a.m. with Reverend Joyce DeFalla. By the way, everything that I'm sharing with you today is available and to be found easily on our website. Under the services, you'll find the Sunday Bulletin, and there's all kinds of details and links there. Such as this afternoon, Reverend Tara invites you to a conversation about voting as a spiritual practice. And you can also download the Center's spiritual guide to voting. And of course, tonight's Sunday evening conversation, practitioner Elias Owens suggests we stop watering down our faith. And that's at 7 p.m. And tomorrow, Reverend Joyce Kinsel hosts a conversation about the experience of being in the third act of our lives, again, a Zoom meeting. And did you know that there is free confidential prayer available after every service? Yes, it is. To receive prayer, you have to quit this meeting. So at the end of the service, exit the meeting, go to our website. You'll find the link there to after-service prayer. When you go to the after-service prayer, you will be met by a host who will hook you up with a practitioner in a private room where that practitioner, a prayer practitioner, can give you a confidential prayer tailored exactly to your needs. Thank you so much for being a part of our community.
Hi, good morning. I'm Linda Han. I'm your Chief Operating Officer and a member of your Giving Intention team. Each year at this time, we reach out to our congregants and ask them to consider filling out a Giving Intention card, letting us know how much you plan to donate in the upcoming year. Now, my husband Stephen and I, we've been coming to the center for probably 13 years or so, and we've always filled out a card. We were always happy to do so. But truthfully, it wasn't until I joined the Giving Intention team and became a staff member 2 years ago that I truly understood the importance of this practice. By having this information in advance allows me to create an annual budget and present that to the Board of Trustees for their review and approval. This year, probably more than ever, it's that much more important for us to have this knowledge. We will be taking a look and making sure that we can pay our mortgage, our utilities. We'll be working with the education department to see what classes we can schedule. We'll be talking with Christopher to find out what guest musicians he has planned for next year, talking with Edward and Reverend Tara about guest speakers, and of course making sure we can pay our beloved staff. So I thank you for considering this. If you're new to the practice, please know it's not a binding contract. We're not going to send you an invoice. We don't call you if you get behind. In fact, if your circumstances change, all you need to do is reach out to Mitzi Hughes, our financial operations manager, or myself, and we're happy to make adjustments for you. And thanks to Alan Yeager, our webmaster, he has put together a beautiful form. It's very easy to complete. You can find it on the homepage of our website. And you'll notice that this year we're doing something a little different. Rather than having a section allocated for our building renovation, due to the pandemic, we're asking that all contributions go directly to our general fund. That way we can be assured that we can cover our operating expenses. And if something does come up for the facility itself, we can always just make adjustments and pay that out of the general fund. Lastly, I just want to thank you guys so much. Thank you for watching every Sunday. Thank you for attending classes and meditations and virtual social halls on Zoom. And most importantly, thank you so much for your notes of appreciation that you're sending in with your donations. It touches our heart greatly. So with that, please know that your staff loves you, we miss you, and we appreciate all that you do for us. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Lorena Fisher. I'm a member of the Center for Spiritual Living, Santa Rosa, and I'm here to tell you about Circles for Spiritual Connection. Some of you might remember empowerment groups that were held several years ago where we met in individuals' homes for about 6 weeks at a time, weekly, of course. Well, this is a little different. We come together in small groups via Zoom. There's something special about the safety of being in your own home and with a circle of individuals that provides an opportunity to open up and share without judgment or fear. There's laughter, connection, and making new friends. We continue to share in a deepening of our spirituality and have lively, thought-provoking discussions based on questions from the previous Sunday's message. Now, most of us are probably feeling lonely or disconnected since we haven't been able to get to the center and don't know when we will. But there's a solution. You can join a Circle for Spiritual Connection. We're starting a new series the week of October 12th. Registrations open up this Sunday, the 20th. And you can go to the Center for Spiritual Living's website, www.cslsr.org, and click on Circles for Spiritual Connection. And there you'll find a list of days and times and facilitators that might meet your needs. We really hope that you will join one of our groups, be inspired, get connected, and know that you are loved. Thank you.
San Francisco AIDS Foundation has been on the forefront of HIV education for decades. We want our communities to rely on the facts and not fear. When it comes to preventing HIV infections and living well if you become HIV positive, knowing the facts is a first step.
I've been HIV positive since the mid-'80s, and that was an era when you became positive and you became very afraid. Now, with proper navigation, somebody can test positive, immediately be put on care within a matter of weeks, bring their viral load down to undetectable. They can get all this life support that they could never have had before.
Today's HIV treatments can make a person living with HIV so healthy that they cannot transmit the virus. Condoms or no condoms, PrEP or no PrEP, people who have an undetectable viral load do not transmit HIV to their partners. We say undetectable equals untransmittable, or you equals you. This is what everyone should be talking about.
The San Francisco AIDS Foundation really treats the entire individual as someone that can't navigate their own healthcare optimally unless they have a social foundation that makes them happy, healthy, and secure.
We started Cutie Pocket Strut to make a space for queer and trans people of color to get together and talk about any emerging issues and feel less isolated.
I'm really grateful that Cutie Pocket Strut exists. There are so many different sorts of events that happen here. I feel like it's really created a weekly safe haven for so many people.
The first 2 hours of the entire event is really just open testing. It's a time for you to come in. You don't have to be scheduled. It's become this really nice environment where we have a bunch of regulars who all hang out together, and also we get to see performances from queer people of color who might not have the space for those types of performances otherwise.
It's about normalizing sexual health and increasing access in these communities. We're working hard to get people information and start conversations about what they need to support their sexual health. We know our communities are stronger because we're supporting each other.
Know with me that you are never alone, that Spirit is right where you are, that you have only to look within at any moment to know that you are guided, sustained, and empowered by a presence that expresses its love in this world through you as your love. In deepest gratitude, let us live our lives accordingly, so that in everything that we do and say and think, we honor this presence of love within. And so it is.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say Amen. Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say Amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God